This is lesson 11D, 11D, and it's a fairly short exercise on the Burns supper, what we have to eat at the Burns supper. Okay, I'll start each sentence with at the Burns supper we had, and it's the normal voicing pattern. At the Burns supper we had soup. At the Burns supper we had soup. At the Burns supper we had haggis. At the Burns supper we had haggis. At the Burns supper we had tatties. At the Burns supper we had tatties. At the Burns supper we had neeps. At the Burns supper we had neeps. At the Burns supper we had shortbread. At the Burns supper we had shortbread. At the Burns supper we had whiskey. At the Burns supper we had whiskey. Now I'll tell you just a little bit more about these, and I'll use the same sentence each time. At the Burns supper we had cockaliki soup. At the Burns supper we had cockaliki soup. At the Burns supper we had boiled haggis. At the Burns supper we had boiled haggis. At the Burns supper we had champit tatties. At the Burns supper we had champit tatties. At the Burns supper we had mashed neeps. At the Burns supper we had mashed neeps. At the Burns supper we had butter shortbread. At the Burns supper we had butter shortbread. At the Burns supper we had whisky to toast the bard. At the Burns supper we had whisky to toast the bard. And we said the Selkirk grace. And we said the Selkirk grace, which is some hae meat and canna eat, and some wad eat that want it. But we hae meat and we can eat, and say the Lord be thankit.